Many of the nation's historically black colleges and universities have not received proper funding from state governments for decades. The federal government established HBCUs in the 1800s because white institutions of higher education would not accept black students. Many have struggled financially because lawmakers have diverted billions of dollars in funding to other purposes. The leaders of some HBCUs are fighting to get the money they say they are owed. Our CBS News MoneyWatch team tells us more about how the presidents of 4 Maryland HBCUs won that battle and will receive a massive influx of funding over the next decade. Khristopher Brooks has been following this story, and he joins me now from Rochester, New York. Khristopher, welcome. It's great to have you with us. Can you explain exactly what happened at these 4 universities in Maryland and the impact the federal ruling had on other HBCUs?
Well, thanks for having me, Tanya. And so the Maryland case in particular, what you had was 4 HBCUs who filed a federal lawsuit. This is like 15 years ago. And in that lawsuit, they argued a couple things. They argued that they had been underfunded by the state of Maryland for decades. And they also argued that the predominantly white institutions in that state were actually creating academic programs that directly competed with the offerings that these HBCUs had. And so that effectively pulled students away from those HBCUs that would have gone there otherwise. And so that ruling ultimately created a decision where they got, or they will be getting, $577 million over the next few years. And what that meant for other HBCUs in other states was basically it said, hey, getting past years of state funding is actually on the table. Now, prior to the Maryland thing happening, all these other HBCUs have just been operating and not thinking they would ever get the money that they've been owed from decades past. And the Maryland thing really set a precedent for these other schools to try to go after their missing funding.
So do you believe that's what we're going to see? Are there going to be some more, lawsuits from these other schools?
I don't know if there'll be directly lawsuits. However, I did speak to an HBCU expert, and he told me that there will be other institutions and other states that'll be pushing for funding that they should have got in the past but didn't. So the question really is, will they have to actually sue to get that money from their state, or will there just be cooperation from state lawmakers in their respective states to just pay that sort of restitution? We don't really know that yet, but I can firmly say there's some states that talked to me off the record and said this is definitely being whispered in other states about getting past funding for their schools that they should have gotten in the first place.
All right, well, let's hope it's the latter and they don't have to go to the courts for it. But what is the one-to-one setup for the HBCUs, and why hasn't the federal government stepped in?
Great question. So let me explain sort of the funding mechanism that HBCUs have to get funding from not only the state government, but also from the federal government. So every year, Congress allots X amount of dollars to every HBCU, every public HBCU. There's some privates out there that technically don't get direct federal funding, but they do in some way or the other. For the public ones, there's X amount of dollars set aside that Congress and DC will give them. Now, their state, whether that's Tennessee or Maryland or Virginia or Mississippi, their state is supposed to match that exact dollar amount, 1 for 1. In other words, if Congress gave FAMU $1 million, then Florida, the state of Florida, is also supposed to give them $1 million. And what we've been seeing is that while the U.S. government has been willing to fund what these schools need and deserve, the states will not put that one-to-one dollar match there. And so those states are using that funding money for HBCUs to something different. And they can't really, as a federal government, tell these states what to do with that education funding. So they really have their hands tied in terms of getting these HBCUs the extra amount of money from the state level that they should have had.
So, do you know how far back this underfunding has gone and how much money, that has been withheld? Is there an actual number?
Well, all of it is going to be case by case. Let me just start by saying, from the experts that I talked to, the underfunding goes back to literally the existence of these schools. Like, they were telling me that the land, even the land that these schools were built on, were inferior in their respective states. And so they had to go decades and decades not getting the money that they should have had. So it's sort of baked into their existence. And then in terms of the actual dollar amount, all of that is going to be different with each state and each institution. For example, I spoke to Tennessee State University, and they did a study recently and found that their school since the 1950s has been underfunded to the tune of $544 million. So you got to look at what maybe South Carolina will do, and Alabama and Mississippi and Louisiana. It's going to be millions and billions of dollars once you add it all up, but it's a substantial amount of money for each school and a substantial amount of money in its totality.
And Khristopher, with Vice President Kamala Harris famously being an HBCU graduate, do you think that will help states to properly fund HBCUs going forward?
To some degree, yes. So her vice presidency basically put HBCUs or rethrusted HBCUs into the national conversation, and the great level of products or graduates that those schools put out. And so one of the experts I spoke to for my story said to me that visibility is going to help these states and these HBCU college presidents go to their lawmakers and say, we've been doing great work for decades. We can be even better if you gave us the funding that we should have been given in the first place. And they could go to Vice President Harris as one of those examples. Keep in mind, though, she did go to a private HBCU. She went to Howard, which isn't exactly in the same threshold of this story, but all HBCUs are getting like higher visibility because of her.
That's great. All right. Well, Khristopher Brooks, thank you so much for joining us. We so appreciate you joining us and your perspective. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.